This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in California. I am here with Straight Talk with Sissy. Since 2022, she encourages wives and mothers who are feeling exhausted and frustrated to take time out to talk about reconnecting with their purpose and rediscovering self-love. I am joined here with the life coach, registered nurse, Emily. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Let's start off a little bit about yourself. You were formerly educated at ROKU University with a bachelor's degree as a registered nurse. Most recently, your passion as a certified professional life coach. You are here to walk with others to achieve their goals. Share with me a little bit about your journey that led you here today.
Well, this journey is not anything new. I've always loved to help people. I've always loved to encourage people to do their best. And in this day and age, people struggle in finding out who they are, loving themselves, and moving forward in their journey. And I'm just here to support that.
Excellent. I'd say we all want to take control of our life. But in order to do so, is change usually a requirement that many are afraid to face and really put in the work to be what we want to be. How important is change, would you say?
Change is essential. Change is what helps us to evolve and become the people that we desire to be. And the challenge with change is that many people don't want to embrace it, but they really don't have the perspective to see it differently to change into. You can't change when you only have one point of view, when you only have one perspective. So what Straight Talk with Sissy does is it allows you to see things a little bit differently from different angles so that you can have a choice to make that change. And what's important to believe, you have to believe in you, right? You have to believe that you have the power to change your environment around you. And what people tend to do is they exhaust themselves in taking care of others and doing for other people, and not leaving enough room for themselves to grow, for themselves to develop into who they are supposed to be. That's the scary part, because if you don't really know who you are, how can you move forward? How can you give everything that you need to give if you don't even know what your foundation is? And that's when it gets scary.
Let me ask you this. My wife and women I know, they're the glue that holds families, communities, and society together. Most hit the ground running every morning and do not stop the entire day. Is tired and exhausted kind of the norm? And does it have to be that way with the help of a coach?
Unfortunately, it is the norm. And women don't realize how much they carry because we tend to take care of everybody. We take care of our husbands, we take care of our children, we take care of our homes. In addition, we're probably doing some outside extracurricular activities, either with the children or with, like a church group. And when we give ourselves in all of those things, fatigue is sure to follow. But what I try to help them do is to just remember themselves. Remember that they have to love on themselves, create a space so that they can relax, so that they can find value within themselves. Because that way, when you love yourself, it overflows onto everything else. When you're tired and you're exhausted and you're frustrated and you're aggravated, that's what overflows. So I stress the importance of self-care and self-love so that you can first take care of you and then take care of everybody else around you.
I would agree. You help women take time to reconnect with their true purpose. Is that empowering to finally discover exactly what you want to provide and leave behind in this life?
Oh my gosh, is it empowering? It opens a new door. When you are focused on everybody else around you, you kind of forget who you are. And that in itself can depress you. It can oppress you, right? But when you know that you are an amazing woman, that you're a strong woman, that you're a loved woman, that you are adding to the lives of others, yes, it is very empowering, and that is what we need to challenge all of those struggles that we encounter every day. You know, you have to save a little bit of yourself to fight for yourself in order for you to be able to fight for everybody else.
There are definitely distractions for women to forget who they are. I mean, women are so busy taking care of children, husbands, loved ones, work. I mean, is it a challenge to find time and kind of rediscover some self love? And why is that so critical to really being able to see your unique, clear path that maybe you're supposed to be on?
Because it gets cloudy when you get busy, when you are overwhelmed, and like you said, when you get so distracted with, hun, what you doing today? What can I do for you? I got to go to work. I got to make sure that I'm on top of my game at my job. I can't do a half job there. We need a check. The children, are they sick? Are they well? Do they have activities? What's going on in school? You got homework. That homework doesn't look like the homework I did. My mother-in-law is ill. I'm going to take her something to eat. I want to make sure that with all of those things, when do you squeeze in time for you? When do you take that moment? And so what I help women do is simply identify first that you need that. You need to take that moment just to evaluate what you're doing in that day. What are you supposed to be doing for that day? And it doesn't take much. People think, "Oh, I don't have time. Sis, you can sit in the car for 30 minutes and listen to a radio, listen to a book, listen, sing a song. Just that time to be able to focus on just you is empowering in itself. It will ignite that fire to just keep going. But if you just keep dousing stuff on a fire, you keep dousing water on a fire, that fire will eventually go out. And that's when we really have a problem.
Definitely so. I mean, many issues that women face, life coaches exist for today. I've sat down with many of them. But some issues are left in the shadows. With little talk or qualified professionals to help, is this where Straight Talk with Sissy addresses issues, breaks through some of these stigmas, explain what makes Straight Talk so unique?
So, I am a nurse, and I've been a nurse for 30 years, right? And I've seen over the years that, women need extra support. They don't necessarily get the support they need to develop into who they are with work or at home. Some women are lucky to have husbands that support them in their dreams. But real life is we get bogged down taking care of everybody, right? But there are certain circumstances where women are not encouraged in their daily lives, and they forget and become depressed in their self-identity. They can't remember what their purpose was, what they're designed to do, what they're supposed to be doing. I just want to be here for everybody else. On the other hand, there are women that encounter traumatizing events. I specialize in sexually transmitted infections because that is one encounter, one traumatizing event that doesn't have to be so traumatizing. And so what I do is I help women remember how powerful they are, how amazing they are, and that the stigma that they are faced with is a falsehood that was created many decades ago. And in 2024, we're not going to accept that anymore. Sis, you are amazing. People love you. Your condition diagnosis does not change who you are. It actually adds value to you because you can relate to people where many others cannot. And I empower people to dig into that, realize that it's just a diagnosis, just like everything else, and it did not change who we were. It did not change who you are or who you're here to be.
So really a paradigm shift, resetting our mindset from something that was taught years ago, seeing it in the current light and understanding what you are and how empowering you are. I mean, it's hard enough going through anything that makes you feel ashamed, overwhelmed, full of self-blame, but to go through it alone can be life-shattering. How can a sexual health consultant like yourself support these women and explain available treatment options for them?
Well, I'm going to give you a very specific diagnosis, and that is herpes, right? And I believe that I can change how herpes is viewed. I want to change the world. I know that a lot of people say that, but I really want to change the world. 67% of the world has herpes. 67% of the population is positive with HSV1. But then we get the stigma that's attached to herpes or HSV2 simply because it comes up in a different place on the body. I want to explain to people and help them understand that we are exposed to the herpes virus family from the time we are an infant to way into adulthood. And you kind of start there with the chickenpox vaccine. Chickenpox is a strain of herpes. As you get a little bit older, mono is a strain of herpes. These are very common things that you encounter just from being on a football team and sharing a water bottle, or sharing drinks with your friends. It's a virus that is stored in the body, but the only time that people deal with it is if they happen to encounter it. There's a lot of people that are positive that don't even know they have it. They've had no symptoms. So when I'm telling people, like, you probably already have it, you've probably already been exposed to a strain of it, what makes it feel so bad is the stigma that's associated with it. So when you can break down the stigma and say that in the 1800s it was placed on women who were prostitutes, who were, instead of actually treating the person that was passing it around, that they literally were blamed for it, took them, locked them up, that's where it started, because we understand that we're in a man-focused world, right? That the blame had to go somewhere. So we are not going to accept that blame here in 2024. We understand it's common. We understand that it's treatable. You can get antivirals that suppress it and make it, a very small amount, 0.2 as far as transmission. And you can live a regular life.
Yep. I mean, you not only have to educate women, you have to educate the men as well. You've got to educate the world and understand this is as common as germs many times, and yet we don't condemn anybody who, comes across with germs, which makes sense. Dealing with sexually transmitted health issues can be a dark time, as women have to navigate telling their partners, understanding the diagnosis. But you say that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Can an extraordinary life exist beyond that chapter for these women?
Absolutely. I tell women all the time, when you encounter something, when you get that diagnosed, the first thing you do is experience that shame. The first thing nobody's going to love me. Nobody's going to want to be with me. It's my fault. Honey, you are just as much the victim as the person that gave it to you. The reason that is because nobody is brave enough to tell anyone else I have it because of the shame associated to the stigma. I said it doesn't have to be an uncomfortable conversation. It can simply be as, hey, you know what? Before I have intimate contact, I make sure that me and my partner get tested. We can go to dinner after we get tested. Once we get those results back, we can talk about them and we can decide to move forward. Simple, easy as that. It doesn't have to be shameful. You are simply protecting your temple. Test before the rest. That's my saying.
Yep, I mean, education and knowledge is power, obviously. As a certified life coach and a nurse for over 30 years, you provide unique support For those who have spent time in a hospital, as they now wade through medical jargon and attempt to get their health life back on track, what is Discharge with Sissy? Explain that a little bit.
So, Discharge with Sissy is a need that I see for people that are having any type of medical issues. So they go to the doctor, they go to the hospital, they get discharged with this stack of paperwork. You get home and you have no idea what that stack of paperwork says. As a home health nurse, where I would go to my patients' homes after they've been discharged from the hospital to admit them on home health services, I cannot tell you how many times I would review the medications with the patient and they're like, oh, I don't take that, I take this. Well, they discharge that. They discontinue that when you were in the hospital because that's what caused you to get there. They've started you on a new medication and it is this. That is how lost they are compared to. Sometimes I'll say, well, do you know what you went to the doctor to do? Do you know what your diagnosis was? Yeah, no, they just took a picture of my stomach and that's it. Well, what they did was they took a scan of your stomach and this is what they said. And most of that is in that discharge paperwork, but nobody takes the time to explain it.
No, absolutely not. I've dealt with that myself. I've dealt with that with my kids. We get this stack of papers. We're so excited to get home. And then we get home and go, what the heck? What is all this? And if I don't read it properly and understand it properly, I'm not really able to help myself when I'm back at home. I think that's a great service. Another area where people are overwhelmed and you're able to help them with. Talk with Sissy is like having a big sister who supports you and provides a holistic, safe space to share. Are sister friend sessions still one of your favorites, and your clients many times become your friends?
Yes, and that is my favorite one, right? Because people are always surprised at how much you can learn and how much you can gain from a simple conversation. There are a lot of women out here that don't have close friends that they can talk to without judgment. They can't talk to their family about what they really want to talk to them about because they're afraid that they'll be looked down upon. A lot of times, friends tell you what you want to hear versus what you need to hear. So when I say come to sister friend time, I want you to come. If you need to be in your robe and your bonnet with a glass of wine, come on, it's fine. We're going to sit down and we're going to have a chat. What's going on with you? What's going on? What? They did that? You know, your kid said what? Let's talk about it, because it's just an open conversation where you can say what you need to say in a safe space, and I'm here to support you.
And obviously, there is no growth when we surround ourselves by friends who are simply yes people. Yes men, yes women. I mean, eventually you got to say, hey, you know what? Shoot me the truth here. I want to know the truth here if I really want to grow. I mean, Emily, you support others to work through their pain and disappointments while increasing self-love and internal empowerment. As you help women achieve their dreams and ambitions, is this rewarding for you as well?
This is what I was born to do. When I was 13, I was told that I would speak in front of thousands of women. That was ridiculous. Well, I'm 13. I don't know what you're talking about. When I was 26, I had a vision that if I could change somebody's mind, I could change their life. And that I was supposed to be counseling women between the ages of 18 and 80 to just help them love themselves so that they can move on to the next step. Now, I'm 52 now. So it still took me another almost 25 years to say, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I've been built to do. Let's get it done. And so I want to be here to support women no matter where I am, because my goal is to move to Panama. But I want to be, wherever I am, still be able to help my clients.
Exciting passion that you have. I tell my friends all the time that great things happen after 50 because of the fact we start believing that vision we had way back when we were young. We now know, hey, you know what? This is
Yes.
probably real, and we go out and do it. Very exciting. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is her website. On the website, see all the services she provides. I mean, tune in weekly to the Straight Talk Lounge, found on Amazon Music as well as Spotify. Read the great reviews right there on her website. Then book a session today or an initial consultation. It's nothing more than a conversation where you're going to dig a little bit deeper and find out if she is a good fit for you, like many have been. Once again, that is Straight Talk with Sissy. If you can change your mind, you can change your life. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.